Last run at the food or drink, and it will start in a minute. Okay, we're going to get started. If you guys could come and take your seats. Okay, so we're going to get started. My name is Mitch Jacobson. I am the director of the Austin Technology Incubator and also director of the Blackstone Launchpad on campus. We welcome you to Capital Factory, and we thank Capital Factory for the use of their space. They've been a great partner in our SEAL program. Today is Decision Day. Decision Day for 18 companies to come and tell you about their companies, about what they do, what they've learned over this 9-week accelerator, and whether they are going to continue to do what they do. And hopefully they've made that decision. And if they're going to go on and be a great company, great. If they made the decision not to go on because they found things about their company or about their technology that just isn't right, it's good to say no, fail fast, and go a different direction. So we'll hear about that today. It's important for us at the Austin Technology Incubator. We are about to celebrate our 30th year in business, which is, as far as we know, is the longest continuously running technology incubator in the country. You'll hear more about that. You'll hear about more of our 30th celebration soon. We're starting to plan a big celebration about that in 2019. There's a lot of history behind IC Squared, George Kosmetsky, ATI, the entrepreneurial world, and what this has created in Austin, and it's a pretty incredible story. So we're going to do it right and celebrate that story next year. SEAL is also 10 years old. We've been doing this program for the last 10 years. And we've had a number of different versions of it. This is a very different version than we've done in the past, and Bart's going to tell you about that. But there's a lot of people to thank in terms of getting to this point. One of those is the teams. We had 21 teams start. We've got 18 teams that are presenting. The folks that took advantage of the program, the workshops, the speakers, the mentors, hopefully you got a lot out of it, number one. But I know time is of essence for all of us, especially entrepreneurs who are trying to build a business and develop technology and trying to create a market and customers, et cetera. So I thank those 18 companies and 21 companies who started with us and went through the motions of going through this accelerator. I also want to thank our sponsors. Our sponsors who are listed on the slide here. Couldn't do anything without them because you need money to go put these kind of things on. TMAC and Southwest Research Institute, Bill Rafferty, where's Bill? Bill's over here. Bill's been a great sponsor of ATI and the CleanTech Open and other folks. So we thank Bill and Swery and TMAC. Austin Energy, Carl Popham. I don't know if we have anybody from Austin Energy here yet. No, they're out fixing poles, but they will be here. Austin Energy has been a great a wonderful sponsor and partner with ATI for many, many years, and we thank them. Capital Factory, again, not only for the space, but hosting this with us, and Josh and us have become great friends, and I-Corps. So the I-Corps Southwest region, which is headed by Marco and April, is a big part of this program, and that's probably the big differential in this program, which Bart will tell you about in terms of not just student companies, but more mature companies that have gone through this accelerator, and why we did that. I also want to thank Bart Bond. Bart is a good friend, a former colleague, and we tapped him to run this program this summer. He's actually the founder of SEAL, so he was quite the appropriate person to get to run this. And you'll hear from Bart. I also want to thank Sean, who I think is outside registering people. Sean's an undergraduate student. She's been amazing in terms of the coordination. I also want to thank my staff at ATI and Blackstone. You guys have put an amazing amount of time into this and putting this program on. And lastly, I want to thank the mentors and the speakers who have come and, again, given of their time. These are volunteers who come and spend valuable time with our companies, who give them valuable advice and connections and what have you. And so again, we couldn't do that without any of the folks in this room that have contributed this summer, so I really appreciate that. So the next 3 hours is going to be pretty quick, 18 different presentations. We'll give you a break here and there, and let me introduce you to Bart Bond, who's going to tell you more about the program. Thank you.
Hey, welcome to SEAL Decision Day. This is going to be a blast. We're going to have lots of teams, entrepreneurs who are passionate about what they're doing, just coming through rapid fire. So as Mitch said, 10 years in, this is kind of the next layer of details. 106 companies or teams, proto-entrepreneurs, something like that, have come through. Our best guess is collectively they raised about $100 million. And if you did a blind investment against that pool without giving away confidential information, you'd be pretty happy right now. And that's at this incredibly early stage. These are really early stage companies, and they're still going to get traction. As Mitch said, the idea for SEAL is a go or no-go decision. A lot of times entrepreneurs think that happens at that very embryonic stage. The reality is all along the journey, there's these different moments where you think about, should I continue to go forward or not? And sometimes that happens, when technology fails, or technology proof points, or early customer traction, or ability to raise money, build teams, scale. All those kind of things represent a different go, no-go decision. So today you'll hear from a wide range of startups all along that spectrum as they try to figure out what that next go, no-go decision was. And they reached out with lots of mentors from direct industry experience to figure out what the question was and then how to tackle it. And so it's not just an early stage thing. That's kind of one of the big misconceptions that's fantastic to explore through the program. The last 2 years, we've had a grant from the Kauffman Foundation. And so we reached out to see if SEAL was applicable to other universities. Turns out the answer is yes. And we had teams come in from incredible universities around the country and take advantage of the opportunity. And it's interesting to see the infrastructure being built at the University of Texas and in Austin in general. Now we can open that up and apply it to everywhere else and let them take some lessons learned back to their programs and their home universities. This year, our experiment, as Mitch teased, we worked with the NSF I-Corps program. And what it does, it takes a technology founder, a business founder, and pairs them up with a mentor, and makes them go through an accelerator program anchored around customer discovery. It's shocking what happens when you take a professor or tenured faculty member, who really is probably one of the top 10 people in the world on their topic, and make them go do customer interviews. Their heads explode. They don't understand why their tech isn't the coolest thing ever. It's amazing to witness. I got to be part of a team a few years ago, and it was a unique experience. And so we partnered with them to have them come through the SEAL program. So 11 teams from the NSF I-Corps program come through. You'll notice that they are founders from the community. And so they don't quite look like undergrads. They're encountering the exact same challenges and issues. And it's fascinating to watch the parallel journeys everyone's on. The other thing we did was we absorbed, I think might be the right word, the Clean Tech Open. And so a couple clean energy companies that are part of the ATI came through the accelerator program as well. again, to help them focus on that next go, no go decision, even though they're a little bit further along. We continued what we started last year. We're part of UT, so we're actually doing research on ourselves. It's a shocking idea that you should do academic research on an academic hosted program. Researching entrepreneurs is notoriously hard. Last year we had 5 different faculty teams try this. 4 failed, 1 succeeded. He's back this year. So Clay did again. Out of last year, 2 papers came out of it. The first talking about how entrepreneurs persuade people to present their ideas about the problems and how the value of the product and solution comes about and how that changes over time. And so that one got published. The second one's in revisions as a case study on SEAL. So it's really interesting to see the academic lens of what the practitioners are doing as we run around with our hair on fire all the time. And so we're looking forward to some more great insights next year. Again, thank you sponsors. It was so awesome to actually be able to host this at Capital Factory completely this year. So extra thank you to Capital Factory. All the teams got co-working memberships. We had all of our lunch and learns and breakfast workshops here and our kickoff and of course decision day. Thank you guys. I think this is my favorite slide. The unique thing about SEAL is it's kind of almost that bridge from the university out to the community. And because we're the university, when we call up all the other programs in town and say, hey, can you help out these incredible emerging startups and entrepreneurs from the university, everyone says yes. And so we had all these different programs come in and impact the teams and the entrepreneurs in different ways. So huge thank you to all of them. It's amazing to see how receptive and eager the Austin entrepreneurial ecosystem is for the university to come out and meet it and engage with it. And we're kind of doing something new, startups helping startups. And so you'll notice all the drinks have been provided by 4 Austin drink startups. And so we're trying to help promote them as much as possible because we understand how hard it is to get awareness and traction and all that kind of things. Special thanks to Sarah Maxwell Lockenritter for hooking us up with these 4 great brands. Please go try the drinks. I'm drinking a soda that's good for me right now. No sugar and it has probiotics. That's awesome. So go check them all out. SEAL team, Mitch got to say thank you to me, which means I can say thank you to Mark and Lisa. Where are you two? Please raise your hands. Awesome job. And so 21 teams, Mark and Lisa each took a huge chunk of them to make sure they're participating and get the mentor feedback and help support them. And of course, the people who actually make all these things happen, we all know how this really works. Sean, Kristen, and Ashita, you guys were phenomenal the entire time. You dealt with the chaos, the ambiguity so well. Thank you so very much. Please, let's thank them for a moment. So that wraps up kind of the kickoff. For the first time, we get to do something really that I'm excited about. We get to introduce Jagath, who's the founder and CEO of Ordoro. The reason why it's special for me is this was the team that made SEAL. And so we ran it in a year. It was, at best, a shit show. The first year, talk about like internal alpha proof of concept was how it happened the first year. I hardly remember it. The second year we rebooted, and Ordoro is the company that we really pivoted SEAL around. And it's the one that made us focus on the go, no-go decision and not start putting structure around it. And so I'm really happy that Jagath is here to be able to talk about that experience and the journey since then as he's built this company. So with that, I won't give away too much more. Welcome.
Thank you.
Like I said, we know who actually makes all this happen.
Thanks. Hi everyone, you can hear me? Yes. Awesome. Thank you Bart, thank you Mitch. I'm happy to be here. Like Bart said, we were one of the earliest companies to go through the SEALS program. We were connected to, we did that while we were at the ATI. And we were also one of the earliest companies to go through the Capital Factory program. So right after we graduated from SEALS, we moved over here into this building. We were on the Capital Factory, did not have any of this space at that point. We were on the 4th floor in a much smaller office. And since then, from there, we have graduated and we have moved to our own office space a few years ago. So I'm happy to be here to kind of share our story and how we went through the SEALS program and what are some of my main takeaways as part of this journey. Just a little bit about me. My background is in logistics and supply chain management. I spent about 18 years in that space. I have seen and worked on supply chains ranging from General Motors and Chrysler all the way to small businesses. A lot of the small business work has been in the context of Ordoro. I'm a systems engineer by training. I also have a business degree from UT. What drives me is I'm really excited about solving really difficult problems in complex systems. That's what excites me. And I'm also passionate about product design. I believe that enterprise software does not have to look ugly. In fact, no software ever has to look ugly. So what is Ordoro? Why do we exist? We are in the e-commerce space. We are an e-commerce logistics platform. E-commerce is evolving. It used to be that you would just sell on one website, and then as orders come in, you would just print those shipping labels, put your products in the box, and ship it out to the customer. It used to be very simple, but now if you want to really scale up your business, and if you want to grow your e-commerce, you need to be doing a lot of different things. You need to be selling your products across different websites, across marketplaces like Amazon, eBay. There are specialty marketplaces that focus on your particular category. You also need to be fulfilling orders out of different warehouses. So often successful entrepreneurs have multiple warehouses across the country and they're shipping out based on where the order came from. You may be stocking your inventory in a third party's warehouse. So they're holding all the inventory for you, and as orders come in, you just notify them and they're going to ship it out for you. You may be doing a drop shipping model where you don't even own the inventory, you're just listing someone else's product, and as the order comes in, you're just notifying the distributor or the manufacturer, asking them to ship that out or drop ship that directly to the customer. And when you have inventory in all these places, you also need to figure out how you're going to replenish that. When you're running low on stock, how do you make sure that you have enough stock in the right warehouse? This is what a lot of companies do as they start graduating from that one-person shop to a successful e-commerce business. And this introduces a lot of complexities. First of all, orders are coming from all different places. If you miss an order, if you forget about an order, or you ship the wrong product, or you delay the shipment, your customer is going to be very unhappy, and you're going to get a really bad customer review, which means that your sales are going to suffer. If you have inventory in all these different places and you don't clearly know what you have in stock in what place, you don't have visibility into your inventory, which means that pretty soon you may run into a stock out. You took an order for something which you don't have in stock, your customer is going to be super angry again, you're going to get really bad reviews. And all of you know, if you bought something online, you know that you're first Googling to see how reliable the store is that you're buying from. Can you trust them? Is it a scam? So if you see a lot of negative reviews, you're not going to buy from that customer. And if you're relying on your supplier to drop ship the products for you, you are basically depending on the supplier to hold up to your brand promise, right? So you need to be, if you're not fully on track of all of this, it means that your business is going to suffer, you're not going to be able to scale up beyond a certain limit. And bigger companies, bigger companies have teams of people and expensive software to manage all of this. We focus on the smaller companies. So that's supposed to say powerful logistics platform. I don't know what happened to the last word. It's probably the screen resolution size. So we target on merchants below $20 million in annual revenue. So we are focused on the lower end of the e-commerce, and what we bring to them is a powerful logistics platform. We help them sell anywhere, ship from anywhere, and have accurate visibility and manage your inventory everywhere. And we do all of that with the beautifully crafted software, with phenomenal people on our side. What really drives our company, what our secret sauce is, an incredible product which works really well every single time, and an incredibly passionate set of people who actually listen to the customers, keep iterating on the product, and offer amazing customer service. In fact, if you Google for Ordoro reviews, you'll see hundreds of 5-star reviews across the internet on app stores like Shopify, on GetApp, on Capterra, and Software Advice. We have also have received accolades from multiple third-party reviewers. Last year, we were named one of the best shipping software for 2017 for small businesses by Fit Small Business. And a couple of months ago, Forrester Research named us as one of the top omni-channel order management systems for the SMB space. And hopefully this year we'll get into the Gartner report too. So that'll be amazing. So enough about us. Let's talk about you guys, the SEALs. So this is us back in 2010. This is I think the second year or third year of SEALs program. This picture was taken in a small windowless server room on the northeast corner of ATI. It used to be like a place to stock servers, but that's where like all the SEALs people were living. We were living in that cubicle for a few months. It was exciting. This picture is like a defining moment in the history of the company. What I'm holding there in my hand is the first ever customer payment. So that's the invoice. And the story behind that is we have been calling customers, trying to get them to use the software, and finally one of them said, okay, how do I start paying you? And that's when we thought, okay, well, we don't have a billing system, we don't have an invoicing system, nothing. So as soon as we got on the phone, we just signed up for a PayPal account, and then emailed the customer a link saying that, okay, go here and like, just put in your credit card information and we'll invoice you. So, and then PayPal sent me that's a Gmail printout. PayPal sent me a notice in my email, and I printed it out, and that's what that is. And what you see below, it's hazy because that's a bubble machine. So we had this bubble machine in our cubicle. Every time we close a sale and the customer pays us, we would run that bubble machine. I think it belonged to Sangram's kid. I don't know how it got there, but that was our thing. Like every time we closed a sale, we would run that bubble machine. So from there, we have grown to a multi-million-dollar revenue company, and it's been a very exciting journey, and a lot of you guys have helped along that process. So when Bart invited me to come here and talk about us, I kind of want to see, like, there's so much to talk about. How do I distill this into 3 things, or 3 rules, or 3 takeaways, or 3 points? So this is what I came up with. Before I get into rules 1, 2, and 3, rule number 0, there are no rules. That's the coolest thing about entrepreneurship. People can tell you a lot of different things. Whatever I'm telling you is based on my experiences. This worked for me, this worked for my company. It does not mean it's going to work for you. What works for you is not going to work for me. Your mileage is going to vary. So take all advice with a pinch of salt. You got to figure out all these things on your own. Listen to others. A lot of people are going to be giving you advice. Always surround yourself with great people who have done this in the past, people who really know what they're doing. Listen to them. But in the end, all these decisions you have to act on your own, because it's your company. You are the one. You're living and breathing this 24/7. You know your business inside out way more than what your advisors know. So listen to them. But in the end, you have to act on your own, and you should own up to everything. That's one of the coolest parts about entrepreneurship, because I have no one to blame. If something breaks, I'm responsible for it, and that feeling is amazing, because I'd rather be fully in control of my destiny than have someone else dictate what I do. And owning up to everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it's one of the amazing parts of this journey. So going to rules. Number 1, I would say, is as you graduate from the SEALs program and start building your company, focus on things that matter. It's supposed to say focus on things that matter. So it's okay to do things that don't scale. You don't have to have a perfect system on day 1. So going back to my story from that photograph, right? So our invoicing system was that up to about 25 customers, we did not have a system to bill our customers. So what we used to do was, anytime a customer was ready to pay, we would send them a PayPal link, they would enter that, I would print that out, and I would pin those invoices on the wall. So that told me it's a recurring revenue model. So every month the customer is going to pay the same amount. That was my accounting system. I knew exactly how much to charge to a customer on what day, and then I would just I'll remember, and then I'll just go and charge the customer. This is how this was our invoicing system for the first 25 customers or so. Pretty soon after that, as we started scaling, we moved to a better system. We used Recurly to begin with, and now we are on Stripe, and we process a lot of money through that on a daily basis. So it's got to be like, everything has to match, so it's a much more accurate system now. But in the beginning, you don't need all of that. So don't worry about all those things. Just focus on things that matter. And for me, the guiding principle here was revenue solves all problems. So tackle problems that are actually going to grow your revenue. The billing system was not going to grow my revenue. It was a matter of efficiency. At some point I needed to have that. I did not need it for the first customer. So focus on things that are actually going to help you grow revenue. Now for you guys, I know there are a lot of different business models. Maybe it's a user count that matters. Maybe you're building a marketplace and it's a network effect that matters. So figure out what that metric is and focus on that and do things that actually drive. For me, it was monthly recurring revenue. That's what I look at day in, day out. I know that at any given point, I know exactly what my MRR is because that chart is what I live by. So to me, every decision is based around revenue. And do a lot of things on your own first when you're a startup. Do sales on your own, do marketing on your own, take customer support phone calls on your own. And the benefit of all of this is once you start doing this on your own, as you scale and when you're ready to hire someone else to do those roles for you, you know exactly what entails. You know what is required. What kind of person do you need? What's going to be the daily life? What are the struggles that they're going to face? So you'll understand the job really well. That's supposed to say everything takes longer. So rule number 2 is everything takes way longer than what you think. So if you think something's going to take 3 months, that's 2x or 3x, because even if you can do it in 2x, you're lucky. Talk is cheap, doing is what matters. A lot of people will come to you once you start launching. People will come to you with really shiny objects. They'll tell you that, okay, do this thing and you're going to triple your business overnight. Do this other thing and you're going to be making a lot of money. So one of my favorite stories, and this is an email that's in my, I look at it at least once a year. In fact, I looked at it a couple of days ago while I was preparing for this. So this was probably late 2010 or right after we graduated, maybe early 2011. We signed a partnership with a pretty big brand name in this industry. So this was a company with like thousands of customers. And they said that, okay, if you do these things for us, we're going to send out an email campaign to our entire customer base. You're talking about thousands of customers, announcing this relationship and announcing how awesome Ordoro is and how they should try it. Be prepared for that, all these customers signing up. So I have this email that I sent to my CTO saying like, hey, XYZ company is going to send out a big email marketing campaign going out to thousands of customers. There's going to be a lot of leads coming from this next Wednesday. Do you think our servers are going to hold up? Do you think like a registration process is good? And so he's like, okay, I'm going to add more server capacity. I'll make sure that there are monitoring tools in place. So everything is in place. So we are all set up. Email went out Wednesday. We are all waiting for the floodgates to open. We got 3 leads from that. So that was like, that was the moment we realized that, okay, there was a lot of people come and promise you things. And again, if they're doing it for free, it doesn't matter. Let them send it out. But manage your expectations. Manage your expectations typically when it comes to partnerships and business development and even in sales. A lot of this is about promise. It's promises. It's up to you to filter down to what's actually going to become a reality. So stay focused on that. Don't fall for, don't get distracted by shiny objects. Grass is always greener on the other side. Every day you're looking at your competition. They're having an amazing day. You're looking at the startups around you. Everyone's killing it. Everyone's crushing it. You feel like, okay, you're the only one who's getting screwed, and you want to be in their shoes. The reality is that grass is always green on the other side. A lot of things are going good for you. A lot of things are going bad for you too, and it's the same for them too. A lot of things are going good for every company. A lot of things are going bad for them too. So just by looking at someone, their marketing information or their press release, don't try to pivot into their space. Pivot if it makes perfect sense for you, because even if it works for your competition who's in the same space, just because it worked for them does not mean that it's going to work for you. Every company is different. Everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own specialty. So figure out exactly what works for you and stick to that. And if it's not working, you need to know internally when to pivot, but don't pivot just because someone else who's in that space is doing really well. And the other important thing is there are no silver bullets. It's not like there's this one thing. If you figure out that one thing, you're going to hit the next level of growth. It takes a long time for some of these things to work out. And there's a very famous quote. I'm paraphrasing it from Messi, the Argentinian footballer, who says it took me like 7 years, 13 weeks, and 4 days to become an overnight success. That's how entrepreneurship works. It's a matter of like making these moves one at a time. You got to keep working on it because you don't know what's going to click. You got to try out a lot of different things. Keep measuring it, and measuring, when I say it doesn't have to be a mathematical measurement, have a sense of, is this working for me or not? And keep trying out a lot of things because you don't know what's going to work. There are second order, third order effects that come into play at some point. So it's a matter of like, keep staying focused. And this is the last one of all. It says health and happiness is a priority. This is extremely important. This is one of my favorite topics. What you're signing up for as part of being an entrepreneur, this is going to be a very exciting journey, but it's also going to come with lots of ups and downs. So for me personally, this was a big thing to learn how to embrace uncertainty, learn how to control my mind, because before starting this, I had a steady corporate job, I was making good money, I would get my paycheck, go home, I was happy, but not really, I wasn't really happy, because that's not what I wanted. I wanted something exciting, I wanted the thrill, I wanted to sign up for the roller coaster ride, and that's what you get. So it's very important that you realize this is a marathon and not a sprint, not just for you, it's going to be that way for your co-founders, for your employees, and even for your family. In my case, I'm very lucky to have a very supportive family. My wife is she also advises me on a bunch of things related to business and keeping my mind sane. So it's very important that you figure out how to keep your mind under control. And to me personally, what has worked for me is that you have to focus on your physical health. Don't just get burnt out, don't eat junk food, and don't have too many sleepless nights. You are going to have sleepless nights, that's just part of the game, but be prepared for it. Eat well, exercise, make sure that your mind can carry through. Again, what worked for me is not what's going to work for you. You got to figure out what is going to help you keep your mind under control. What worked for me is things like mindfulness, reading a lot, philosophy. I learned a lot about Taoism and read a lot about options theory, and all of these things kind of help me and practice a lot of mindfulness and meditation. All of this kind of helps me stay steady and like really focus on what matters and not just get distracted and kind of like go through the emotional ups and downs. And very importantly, this is a process, it's a journey. Enjoy the journey. The destination is usually great, but don't do this just because of the destination. You have to enjoy the journey, because it's going to take you a while to get there. And if you're not enjoying the process, you're doing the wrong thing. So enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, and it's going to be an exciting ride. This is going to be one of the most exciting things that you guys are going to do in the next few years. And all the best. Very excited to be here again, and all the best to all of you guys. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Jag. It's fun to hear about the journey. All right, so we're going to jump straight into a bunch of quick pitches while magic happens on the computer. The first up is DynoFit, and Zulfa, you're up on deck after them. So be ready for that. With that.
If I only had 3 hands, this would work out better. Hi, I'm Maria Schneider. I am CEO of DynoFit, and I'm here with my fabulous team, Dr. Mary Cooley and Darlene Boudreau. Hello, hello. And here on Decision Day, our decision is, it's a go. Because we know that this company and this product can do what we set out to do. I started this company because my son has cerebral palsy, goes to PT, I go with him, we go home with our piece of paper, and our instructions, you gotta do this, and do we do it? Yes. Sometimes, right? Sometimes. And why? Because arguably this is probably the most important thing for my son. He's 12 years old. This is probably make or break on whether or not he is a person who spends his life in a wheelchair or not. And by the way, that's true for a lot of people going through physical therapy. So that's why we started it, was to try to figure out, okay, if I care this much about it and I'm still not complying with my physical therapy and I'm not doing what I need to do, what does it take? Well, the truth is, and I suspect a lot of you are the same way, if you give me a piece of paper and send me home and tell me to do something, that does not make it onto my schedule. That does not fit with the workflow of my life. And that turns out to be the case. Mysteriously, patient compliance is only about 30% for physical therapy. And it's not because we're lazy or stupid or don't care, it's because the reality is we are accustomed to having tools and processes and systems to do everything we do. So we've got our apps, we've got our phones, we've got our habits, etc. So what does it take, and this is the key question for my company, what does it take to get people to not only do it, but actually like want to do it, like embrace it, okay? Fitbit is a good example. Fitbit, in my opinion, is a fairly trivial technology from a medical point of view, but it gets people to walk, right? What does it take? So what we did was we tried to figure out what are the pieces, and it turns out to be feedback, right? That's what your Fitbit gives you. It turns out to be somebody looking over your shoulder. That feedback goes to them, and they can tell. And it turns out fitting into your workflow. So those are the things that we tried to capture. What we did, we created a wearable sensor. I'm gonna go through this really fast because I only have a few minutes. And what this does is actually reads the muscle activation for whatever muscle is underneath it. So here's the feedback part. Here's me not talking into the mic. But if you can see this, when I flex my muscle, you're gonna be able to see it on your cell phone. So with this, I can start to fit this into your workflow. This goes to my cell phone. I can send you texts. I can say, what time are you going to do this today? I can put it on your calendar. I can send whether or not you did it back to your physical therapist. And I can integrate this feedback, which is actual muscle feedback, with whatever kinds of things you already use in your life. Like if you use some kinds of schedulers, if you use, etc. And that is what we're attempting to accomplish and are in fact accomplishing with this company. So we're still pretty early. Our revenue model is that we sell these, we sell the software. Well, actually our apps are free right now, but we're working with other people who will sell software, and we sell disposable pads. We have a market strategy. I have 1 minute. Our current status is that we're actually in the market. So that's awesome. We're selling these to a variety of universities, etc. I want to thank our mentors and talk about what happened in this program for us. In this program, our discussions with our mentors helped us identify that in my zeal to make sure that everybody can have one of these, we've probably priced it too low. And we probably really need to look at our pricing strategy and the way that we enter the market. So those are kind of the lessons learned from us. It's definitely not a deal killer for our company, but it's something that we really need to think about because it needs to be a company that sells stuff, but it also needs to be a company in the long term that makes a profit. So one of the things in this next NSF portion is that we get to ask a lot of questions and do more discovery about that. That's where we're at, and thank you so much. We appreciate being in this program.
Great. Zelfa, you're up next. And Verisil, you're on deck, so you're ready to rush the stage.
Look. Howdy, everybody. My name is Brendan Tethers, and my goal here in SEAL was to determine whether or not doing an ICO for self-help was a good way to raise funds. So I went and participated, and I found out that doing ICO or going through the SEC legal framework and providing investor protections is completely possible. So you could do that, but although with the current industry, with malpractice going on and future uncertainty, legal frameworks just being in a gray area, we decided that the SEAL's no-go decision, that it was a definitely no-go to do an ICO. So with that, I'm going to leave this over to Lauren, which is the co-founder of Zelfa Health.
Hi guys, like he said, thank you, Brendan. My name is Lauren. I'm one of the co-founders of Zelfa Health, and a year ago I was standing on this exact stage, and at that point Zelfa was just comprised of three founders, and that's all the company was. And today, since there's 4 minutes, I can't go through this. We are now a team of 18 full-time employees that are in Nairobi, Kenya. And just as a reminder, Zelfa Health, our mission is to increase access to high-quality medical care to those who need it most. And how we exactly do that is we use machine learning, a type of artificial intelligence, with healthcare IT systems to minimize clinical errors and also to improve healthcare institution outcomes. So I don't want to take any more of your time. I know we're limited, so please reach out to me. My email is k.lauren@ZelfaHealth, or if that was too hard, info@ZelfaHealth. It all goes to me. Thank you very much, guys.
That's cool. We occasionally do have companies that come back through. Rarely do they go from 3 to 18 employees, though, so congratulations on that. So Vericil, you're up next, and then Derma Diagnostics, be right in.
All right, hi everybody. I'm with Vericil, and we're doing electrosurgery monitoring to improve surgical outcomes and provide cost savings for hospitals. So, many of you have had a personal experience with a family member who's had surgery. If you haven't yet, it's likely that you will, seeing as there's somewhere around 48 million surgeries per year in the US. So, for me personally, that was a tough experience. You feel helpless. Your family member's hand or life is in somebody else's hands, and that's tough no matter how well trained your surgeon is. So that was a hard thing for me to accept. And my name is Russell Bordoon, and I'm working with Rex Lee, Dr. Wei Lee, who's a professor at the University of Texas, and we're all mechanical engineers working to improve surgery. So I'll start off with what is electrosurgery? Well, electrosurgery is basically applying electrical current to blood vessels to stop bleeding, and it's if you think about your blood vessels like a drinking straw here, if you want to stop the blood flow in the straw, they clamp it and then apply electrical current and it starts to denature it. And so you stop the blood flow. Now, neurosurgeons have a particularly difficult problem because they're dealing with smaller vessels, kind of like a coffee stirring straw, even smaller than this. And often they're working under a microscope, working with tiny tweezer-like tools. Very difficult, it requires a ton of training. They're very well prepared, and they have to be because life or death decisions come down to their experience. They have to decide when they're going to stop sealing the vessel. They don't have feedback for this. So what we're seeing is that if you don't heat long enough, then the vessel could reopen and start bleeding again, which you definitely don't want. And if you heat for too long, you can cause thermal damage to surrounding tissue, which is also very bad in the brain. Our clinician, Dr. Wong at Del Med, is a neurosurgeon. He told us recently that they operated on somebody, closed them up, and the patient started to bleed post-surgery, and they had to go back in and do another surgery. So it's something we definitely want to avoid, and we have feedback from neurosurgeons and trauma surgeons that they're interested in better tools with feedback. So what is our solution? Well, we've developed a sensor and a sensor feedback unit. It looks like a black box because we're still obtaining a provisional patent, but this provides real-time feedback to the surgeon that lets them know what's going on. It gives them a status, and they don't just have to use their judgment anymore. And so what we have is, we're still prototyping, but this has seal quality assurance, so the surgeon can be certain they have more feedback than just their judgment. It seals first time, so currently a surgeon might have to seal the vessel, look at it, go back, seal it again. It wastes time, it's more frustrating. If they can just do it first time and be done with it, that's an advantage. And finally, we're envisioning an embedded sensor that minimally changes the tools so that they don't have to get used to using something new. In the end, if we can improve these tools, it's a benefit for the customers, or sorry, the patients, the hospitals, and the surgeons. And so our focus this summer was, how do we turn this from an early stage lab technology into something real? And initially we were looking at a razor blade model, but after talking to experts and talking to our mentors, we're more focused on now forming a partnership with electrosurgical companies because they have the experience, the capital, the connections to actually make these devices and get them out into hospitals. And we did it at our total addressable market. Just judging that, we could add about $100 of value to these tools that typically cost around $1,000. And our initial target market would be neuro and trauma surgery, and hopefully we would move into all electrosurgery if it was successful. But we know we have a lot of customer discovery left to do, and so we're planning on participating in ICOR this fall to really find out more. So thank you to Seal and Capital Factory for having us, and for all of our mentors, and to you for listening.
Nicely done. Thank you. Good prompts. Okay, next up is Derma Diagnostics.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Elise Lima, and I'm here with Derma Diagnostics. We're working on commercializing a patch for detecting STIs and cervical cancer. This is our team, and we're composed of very strong technical and business individuals, overlapping between my time at the University of Yale doing research and most recently at Notre Dame acquiring my master's in entrepreneurship. We are proven not to quit and are extremely excited about developing this product forward. So as women, we are complex beings. And because we are complex, it is difficult to develop a simple solution. Like Leonardo da Vinci once said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Our biggest motivator is that 8 million women are unable to get cervical cancer screening. And so because of this, 3 in 100,000 women eventually succumb to the disease. So we're not doing enough to prevent and pre-screen at an earlier stage. What this means is that the human papillomavirus, which is the cause of cervical cancer, is on the rise, along with other sexually transmitted infections like the main three, chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis. Within the United States, this means that we have high healthcare costs, between $500 million for expenditure for chlamydia and upwards of $1.7 billion for the human papillomavirus. Therefore, we really need to be doing something more. And further, 266,000 women worldwide die from cervical cancer alone. So it is time for us to be like MD Anderson and cross this number out, or at least attempt to diminish it. Our solution is DiaPatch. It's essentially a small point-of-care diagnostics device that women wear on the pelvic area, and is able to give out a colorimetric or fluorescent signal if they have positive HPV or any of the main 3 STIs. Let me walk you through what this means for the patient. They would wear it on the pelvic area, and the reason there is because this is where the lymphatics are found, and we're after detecting microRNAs. So this occurs via the use of microneedles, which are novel and uprising industry in the past 5 years, relatively recent, which allows us to be able to draw blood from the pelvic area, and then using toehold switches, we're able to detect these microRNAs that have been proven to be upregulated in these disease pathology stages. The idea is to get a positive or negative signal within 30 to 45 minutes. After extensive customer discovery research prior to ICOR, which we'll be transitioning to next, we were able to identify that our solution essentially has 3 main areas of as a product. One would be the DiaPatch STIs, and they're priced around $30 to $50 per patch, followed by DiaPatch HPV, priced between $100 to $200. And also the possibility of having a third product that has a combination diagnosis priced between $150 to $300. And this is because chlamydia has also been associated as a high risk factor for the likelihood of a woman attaining cervical cancer. So although we're early stage and we're in the technology development phase as well as more customer discovery, we've modeled some of our financials. And this is to see that we are indeed going to be a feasible and viable business. So the results here are that we would have a $2 to $3 million a year revenue by year, fiscal year 2021, and upwards of 44 to 74 by year 5. These are the cost of goods sold, and we would be having gross margins already by year 3 and 5. Currently, the valuation of our company is just under $1 million. This is a 2.5x multiple, and conversations we've had with several VCs. So cervical cancer is the most preventable cancer. And it's about time that we attempt to do something more about it, and it starts with DiaPatch, our sophisticated, simple technology that enables pre-screening at an earlier stage. I'd like to acknowledge everybody as a mentor in the space of SEAL as well as Mass Challenge who really supported us through our journey here. Moving forward, we're, like I said, really centered around tech development and putting into place our product development roadmap to get to the functional MVP, as well as in the ICOR program to identify what our go-to-market strategy will be for both the direct-to-consumer and clinical segments. Thank you very much.
Okay, 2 more until we switched over to our break. Explosion, you guys are up next. And then on deck is Brooklyn. See James. Perfect. So you're getting to see the rest of our great deck.
How you guys doing? We can do better than that. One, two, three. How you guys doing?
There's always one awesome character that brings the room to life every year.
Hello, I am Keelan Swain, the co-founder of Explosion Technology. One of the co-founders is this beautiful young lady right here, Isis Ashford. That beautiful man back there, John Kennedy. And we have some amazing business advisors as well as sports industry mentors who have helped us get this far. So, we started in 2017. We were primarily focused on youth baseball athletes, improving their swing speed, power, and performance. We designed a wearable technology that goes on the end of a baseball bat, and as this athlete swings, he can track his progression of his performance over time. With this product, we were able to get some very significant traction with 3 pilot programs, 300 athletes, and we raised seed capital. We were on the ball, okay? However, there were some key lessons learned during this time. One of the things we learned quickly was that this MVP, the prototype we made, was more a nice to have, not necessarily a must have. And during this 3 months that we worked with the 300 youth baseball athletes, we saw our engagement numbers go down and down and down. So it was like, okay, gang, what are we gonna do now? It's 2018. We got into SEAL program and an opportunity came across the table. A sports partnership. And we got to go to the city of Miami during this time as well, so it's very nice. You ever been there? The partnership is with one of the top 10 professors, like Bart said earlier, in the world of biomechanics and sports medicine for actual basketball athletes. He has done some fascinating research with the likes of University of Miami, Miami Heat, and even Auburn University, just to name a few colleges. He specializes in lower extremity injuries, using some similar technology that we had to get his athletes either rehab, to get them back on the court, or prevent future injuries. We partnered together to focus on improving player longevity. And during this time, we've been able to design a neuromuscular fatigue platform that focuses on physicians, doctors, or even the athletic trainer to reduce those darn ankle sprains, or even improve the efficiency of when to bring a player in or out of the game. There's one huge stat in basketball that's really huge, that it is estimated that more than 1.6 million injuries occur just in the sport of basketball per year. An Explosion wants to be a part of that solution. So this is like a summarization of everything I just told you. Some of the strengths we've had as a startup was developing wearable motion tracking technology, but then we came to a partnership with a validated researcher and a doctor in the space. Another thing we were able to identify during the TVL program is what is the opportunity of this sports athletic market. We quickly realized that we're going to have to find other opportunities because this is only a $764 million market. And when we spoke to venture capitalists and mentors in the industry, we had to seek further options. And it came to this decision, go or no go. And we're go, baby. All right? We're go. And the reason we're go is that there are large opportunities on the planet. Athletes get injured a lot, geriatrics, younger kids. There is a large opportunity here, and we're definitely going to be a part of it. Just to give you a taste of other opportunities, this is a market opportunity for physical therapy market that we're actually exploring in our next venture. which is with the iCourse program. Hey, April. Yeah, this is just for you right here. Our new financial partner, we have learned a lot about other market opportunities. And today, our only ask, it's my time, I see you. Our only ask is today is to connect to health tech and athletic trainers, physical therapists, people in the health tech industry, because we want to continue to move the needle forward. Thank you.
Last one, we'll be up for a break after that. You ready?
Thanks, Bart. Hi, I'm Jane Herndon, and I'm accompanied by my beautiful and talented teammates, John Fitch and J.D. Holland, and we're from Berkland Current, a small R&D company located up the street in Waco. We took part in iCore and also the SEAL program this summer to stress test our latest solution and potential spin-off opportunity. It's a smart caregiving solution that helps older loved ones stay healthy at home longer. So why are we doing this? Well, obviously aging impacts us all, but for the first time in history, there have been more older people than younger people, and this of course puts tremendous strain on economies, on health systems, and on social structures worldwide. And so as a result, more senior care is going to occur at home. And truth be known, most people prefer that. But still, there are not enough family members, not enough caregivers, both paid and unpaid, and certainly not enough dollars in the system to handle that demand. So, a lot of things to hang on to. Berkland provides what we call a mosaic of well-being. We enable older adults to thrive in their home while giving their loved ones peace of mind. We do so by gathering contextual data from sensors placed around the home to detect subtle changes in what we call activities of daily living. So changes in sleep patterns, in bathrooming, in mobility, in food preparation, or the ability to prepare meals. These are incidentally the same daily routines that payers and providers use to assess physical and mental decline and to determine treatment plans. So our aim is really to put data into the hands of families and caregivers so they can have meaningful insight and certainly be more proactive about their loved ones' well-being and care. So a case in point is someone we'll call Malia. She was introduced to us by one of our home health agency partners, Right at Home. And we started earlier a paid pilot with her. She and her brother, both in their 60s, are coping with their father's dementia. She lives 2 hours away. The brother lives a couple of doors down the street from the dad. They're paying a caregiver to stay with dad, thereby depleting his resources that he had really set aside to live in his home. Fast forward 2 weeks later into the pilot, her brother now receives alerts if dad gets out of bed, if he showers, if he turns on the stove. So essentially, this very simple solution is saving them $30,000 a year and giving them insight into their dad's behaviors. Now they have peace of mind knowing dad's okay and comfortable in his home, and just as importantly, they can make care decisions based on evidence, not guesswork or emotions. So what's next? This month, we're going to be installing a couple more paid pilots, somewhat larger, one in an assisted living facility, another in a skilled nursing facility. These partnerships are going to allow us to expand the number of installations and scale more rapidly. In every instance, we're uncovering new and unexpected value propositions. So with that, I'd like to thank the SEAL program as well as our wonderful mentors, Dr. Andrew Nerlinger and Sarah Mitron. You guys were instrumental in helping us really think about some structural issues, and we're already taking action on some of them. So thanks.
Great job. So that wraps up the first section of presentations. We got about a 15-20 minute break and we'll kick off the next category. Please go enjoy Austin Startup Beverages and Peach Tortilla and meet everyone else and ask questions of the entrepreneurs.
Probably a lot better than me.
take you to the kind of person you're talking about. Okay, we're going to get started here in a moment. Please find your seats. Pulling the presentations up for the next team, so please go find your seat. And the first company will be H2O Optimized, and on deck is Cosmic Energy. Be ready. All right, we're kicking off the section that we're calling Smart Infrastructure. From ATIs, picks up the energy and water, transportation work, and the soon-to-be circular economy work as well. So with the first one, near and dear to my heart, is a water technology startup. There we go.
Very much. Hello everyone, my name is Jim Brotherton. I'm with H2O Optimized. Today with me is Kate Shaw. She's our marketing guru. And I want to start by telling everybody at SEAL, thank you very much. When we came to SEAL, we were looking to turn some screws to refine some of our business approaches, and we had a lot of help in getting there. And so what you'll see today is the first time that we were actually talking this story. and it's a story about refining what our customer segmentation model really looks like and why we need to approach them the way we're going to do it today. So I'm just going to get started with that and why we're here. So you guys have probably all heard this story before, or the saying that water is the new gold. And so where did that come from? How did it surface? We believe it came around because less than 1% of the world's water is fresh, drinkable, and affordably accessible, and that is causing a global problem. Cities around the world today are struggling to supply fresh, drinkable water to their citizens. Why is it? Is it just because of population growth, or failing infrastructure? We think it's more than that, which is there's a technology problem. The technology problem is that the smart meters in the market today aren't really that smart. It's because most of them are designed for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to be a billing tool for the city and municipality. Because of that, they offer water consumers, me, you, your university you attend, the apartment complex you live in, very low value. Because it offers low value, there's very low adoption in this market. And you can actually see that in our target customer. In the rain harvest market, there's such low value to the rain harvest market, there's almost zero adoption of smart technology for water. In the residential, commercial, and multi-tenant, if you look out the window at any commercial strip mall and almost any high-rise apartment complex, you will see tens to hundreds of people sharing a single meter. So how can we fix this? So the solution is to apply a technology that is ready for today's use of how we use water, and that is Hydroid. It's a 4-piece solution. It's a high-resolution water meter installed inline. It counts every drop of water used. It has smart features like freeze warnings and water pressure and an integrated valve, so when there is a problem, you can actually do something about it from wherever you are in the world. We have a smart gateway. It helps us with security, builds a local area network of our water meters, and also flexibility and communication to the cloud. Our mobile app, we think, is a game changer. For the first time, all of us as water consumers have the ability to monitor, manage, and control our water ourselves, not passively through oil flow fixtures, but actively. And our management dashboard for property managers that gives us the overview of everything that's going on in this system. So why do we think they're going to buy? And this is one of the things we've gotten out of SEAL from this, is that we really now know that this market is looking for marketability of their buildings and resident retention, as well as ease of billing. So bring down their infrastructure costs, stop all the wasteful leaks, and help them with the property damage that happens commonly through unattended leaks. So we're going to approach this market based off of, this is my last slide, just so we're comfortable with that. Over the past year and a half, Kate and I have met thousands of potential customers. We have a list of hundreds of rain harvest customers that are ready to purchase today. We have a list of channel partners that are ready to take our product into their market already. We want to grow in Texas. We have an LOI from a local multi-tenant developer for 300 units. We want to build and grow across the United States. We also just recently installed, have a successful install in a commercial multi-tenant building where we have national companies like Pac-Mel and CC's Pizza using our meter. So anyway, we've come a long way with SEAL. Want to thank everybody for helping us, and that's it for me.
You ready? Perfect. Next up is Cosmic Energy, and Cat's Water Europe after that.
Hello everybody, my name is Catherine Casey, and I'm the co-founder of Cosmic Energy. We provide optical fiber daylighting solutions. So what does that mean? Most basically, you're bringing sunlight deep into the interior of a building, and this has applications in indoor farming. Now, indoor farming is a great alternative to conventional agriculture methods. You don't have to use as much water, you don't have to use pesticides, you have higher crop yields per square foot of grow area. However, it's not scalable because the operational costs right now are so high, and 25% of those costs are due to artificial lighting. Now, I have personal experience with this in working on container farms in my undergraduate research. So how does it work? Basically, you capture sunlight outside using our system. You concentrate it down into fiber optic cables, and then that's transmitted deep into a building and can be applied to multiple levels of a structure. We have a cabled 2-axis solar tracker. This has a superior strength-to-weight ratio and greater optical area. Basically what this means is that you can deliver more light per system when compared to our competitors. It also uses a solar-grade silica optical fiber, which is a premium glass optical fiber which can transmit both visible and ultraviolet light. And this is important for plants. The implications of this is that 40 to 50% of your energy costs can be reduced, and a 20% increase in crop yields can be seen from that ultraviolet light that's provided. Our first customers are vertical farms. This is about 30% of the indoor farming facilities that you see, and farmers can save $50,000 per 10,000 square feet each year on energy costs using our system. In the next 5 years, indoor farms are expected to see a $155 million market increase, which is doubling from what it is now. Vertical farms are at 46 million and container farms at 11 million. So why would a farmer buy our product? Almost 7 million square feet of grow area is expected to be increased over the next 5 years. So if a farmer uses our system compared to a conventional LED, they're going to see almost $100 million increase in profit expansion. So when we asked the leading optical fiber daylighting distributor here in the United States about this, they said one of their most frequent questions they get asked is if this technology can be used for indoor grow applications. And when Agrilis asked these indoor farmers if they would buy technology from a startup, 78% said yes. So through this program, we decided our deal killer was the economic viability of this product. And does it make sense to replace LEDs with an optical fiber daylighting system? We had to look at electrical consumption cost, capital equipment cost, and yield increase. So we compared these systems over the course of 20 years over the same grow area, which is about 500 square feet. An LED grow light, the total cost would be about $73,000. The Lanxu system, which is our leading competitor in China of optical fiber daylighting, would be about $17,000 for 2 units. And our system, Cosmic Energy, would see about $9,000 over the course of those 20 years, and we would only need to use 1 unit. So next, we need to identify container farms to initiate a pilot program and raise $50,000 to produce 3 engineered products within a 3-month time period. The reason we're starting with container farms is that they have an average of about 320 square feet, which means we could have 1 system on 1 container farm and gather a whole bunch of data. So if you know any indoor farmers or any interested investors, come talk to us after this and help us make that connection. Thank you so much.
All right, Gary up, and then Revitalize Recharge.
Good afternoon. At Katz Water Technologies, we're going to reduce the water management costs for oil and gas producers by purifying their produced water on site in an economical and sustainable manner. Our enabling technology is a patented modification to the heat exchanger where we do the entire thermal distillation process inside the heat exchanger. This drastically reduced the capital cost and the energy costs to do the thermal distillation process. My name is Gary Katz. I'm the CEO and founder. We have an outstanding team with over 100 years experience, and we intend to bring this technology to the marketplace. Why are we doing it? I think it's obvious. How many think water management is a major issue for society? think we all do, and these slides show the recent drought several years ago in Texas, which was considered the second worst drought in Texas history, and oil and gas producers were fighting with farmers and ranchers for scarce water resources. So how are we going to get the oil and gas producers to use our technology? We're going to eliminate multiple pain points. The biggest pain point is for every barrel of oil that they produce in Texas, they're producing 8 barrels of contaminated produced water. And that is typically put on pipelines or disposal trucks, very expensive, and sent to disposal wells for disposal. Just the water management component of oil and gas is a $37 billion industry, representing 55% of their operating costs. In addition, in Texas, there's billions of dollars of gas that's being flared because there's no pipeline or no market for the gas. We intend to take these two waste streams, to produce water and the flare gas, and combine them with our technology to purify the produced water into economic components that we could sell. The purified water, the heavy brine can be used as a drilling and completion fluid, and the metals taking out can be recycled. In essence, we're creating a new circular economy and taking an expensive waste product and turning it into multiple revenue streams. Our biggest obstacle is the cost to build the equipment, build and test the equipment, and the systems. We recently got a family office to sponsor building a full prototype and to test it. And the parts are being ordered, and we reduced the cost by ordering the parts in India, and we're going to be assembling here locally. In addition, we're partnering up with a recycling company to integrate our equipment into their pre-existing systems, and their water expert is my mentor for the I-Corps program. So this is our solution. We've run 3 different simulations on using different software, and our results have been phenomenal. And now we got to show that the prototype produces the numbers that we're getting in the simulation. The next step is to test, and that's going to be our go, no-go decision. And we're confident that we're going to get a positive go decision. And then hopefully we can get funding from grant sources such as the NSF to bring this technology to market. And as far as a scalable business, just capturing a handful of small well sites throughout the country will give us a multi-million-dollar revenue stream. Thank you.
This is a big problem. I'm glad you're talking about it. Thank you. Next up is Revitalize and Karnak. You're up after them. Yes.
Hello, my name is Edward Morgan. I'm the CEO of Revitalize Charging Solutions, where we design and manufacture electric vehicle chargers for homes and public to increase range for electric vehicle drivers. I come by way of I-Corps also, and I'd like to give shout out and thanks to the SEAL team, showing all you guys bought. Thank you for the opportunity to participate. When you buy an electric car, one thing they don't tell you is how long it's going to take to charge, right? So that process, and I'm going to use one of my friends here. His name is Quincy. One of the things Quincy and I often talked about was what his experience was when he bought his car. Quincy, most like all of us electric vehicle drivers, are very excited to drive it because we pay no gas technically, right? It cost me $4 to get to Austin. But one thing what Quincy shared with me is that one day he plugged in, got home, plugged up his car, ready to go. He was excited, read on his gauge, 24 hours to charge. Now to Quincy, and to probably most electric vehicle drivers around the world, this is a problem. Because Quincy can't get to that soccer game, right? Quincy can't even really get to work. So here's what happened. When you look at it, it pushes everybody to the aftermarket. there's been great strides in aftermarket to make charging even faster, right? So now you see it down to 6 to 8 hours, some even down to 4. But still haven't really eased that pain point just yet, right? And so we figured out a way, if we can get it down to 3 hours, right? Then not only will it ease that pain point, but people can actually get somewhere much faster. But then we took it a step further. We said the industry is growing at a rapid pace, roughly 40% year over year. The annual growth rate of the industry is globally is 30% between 2017 and 2025. It's huge, right? But here's the most important point: 41% of all of that charging globally today happens at home, and it's going to continue to grow. So because the industry is growing so fast, you're going to start going from 1-home cars to 2-car homes. Now charging is going to be even more important because everybody wants it fast, right? Opportunity is $37 billion just in charging infrastructure by itself by 2025. We're not including cars or none of that, just charging infrastructure by 2025. Now, we had an opportunity in the ICO program this past spring to interview multiple electric vehicle drivers, whether they had a car or they were buying one. And I tell you, most of them will tell you over and over again their main concerns. One was, we want it faster. 2 was, we want to be able to charge 2 cars. Because people are starting to get it now. We're going to sell these globally all around the world. We're going to utilize Amazon. We're going to utilize our own website. We're going to utilize eBay. We're going to utilize Craigslist. We're going to utilize digital platforms to sell our product around the world. Currently, we are already talking to charging channel partners such as solar companies, electricians that are already installing this equipment. And then we're going to take this exact same product and we're going to add another layer of software on it. We're going to sell it to Fleet. Fleet are already interested in it. We've already talked to them. We know what they want and what they like, and we're going to give it to them. Here's where we are. So we've already started manufacturing the enclosure, the LED boards. We've already got the mold on the way. We already entered into UL. We're currently working with UL right now. We hope to finalize that this August. Then we're going to start manufacturing those boards once we get that final approval. We're going to then launch this product. We've already took some pre-sales on this product already. We're going to launch it in September. And then we're going to launch that Fleet portion of it for businesses in December. And I got to go. The significant bell went off. I want to thank all our advisors. We had some really good advisors, industry advisors, as well as ICOP advisors, as well as our regular advisors that we work with continuously. So we want to thank each and every one of you guys for helping us further our company. And through the ICOP program that we're going to be starting in the fall, we hope to get some more validations and talk to more industry customers. Thank you.
Great, Karnak, you're up next. And then closing out the smart infrastructure section will be Zyber.
Hi, I'm Karen Kilroy with Kilroy Blockchain, and this is Lynn Riley, my business partner right here in the front row. And you may have heard of Kilroy Blockchain. We were the winners of the IBM Watson Build Challenge for North America for our app for people who are blind and visually impaired, and that app is called Riley. We try to pick projects that leave us feeling good because there's so much you could do with technology nowadays. So in this case, we have the goal of increasing roadway safety and reducing deaths caused by traffic accidents. Just to give you a little background on where this project started, we had the idea, I had the spark of the idea when I went to the Smart Cities conference. How many people went to it when it was in Austin? Okay, yeah, a few people. It was really a treat to have it here. And I took a workshop that was before the Smart Cities conference that was put on by US Ignite. And in that workshop, I got the idea to do something with AI or blockchain, these new technologies, and traffic to try to reduce deaths, and as a result, also reduce congestion. And so we were finalists in that program, and then we had the pleasure of meeting Mark Sanders there when we presented, and he introduced us to the IC2 Institute, and said, hey, you know, you'd be a good candidate for the private sector version of iCorp, which is iCorp Gov. Now that has led us to the photo where you can almost probably see yourself today in the SEAL picture. And then we also are in iCorp right now. We've already started our cohort. And the reason I tell you this is because our idea is a work in progress. What we did in the first round of iCorp was we talked to 30 people in the traffic ecosystem. And what we're trying to do is figure out how we can solve a problem that helps multiple agencies, and now we're learning it's also multiple contractors, be able to collaborate in a way where they don't revert all the time and miscommunicate. And then we also want to look at possibly providing some value for participation that would go back to those agencies in some way. Now, how does it go back? We're still trying to figure that out. At one point, we thought it could be by cash, that the autonomous vehicle companies would purchase the data. Now I'm starting to see it maybe some kind of a partnership where they consume the data, but then there's some value given back to the other parties. And then once that value comes back, the agencies and the outside contractors that have participated in the system receive some value based on how much they've put in. Because we are, I'm going to skip the screenshots because they don't really apply yet, but because we are focused on products that make the world a better place, the mayor recommended that we focus on American Disabilities Act and making sure that, for instance, like the buttons don't get put too high for wheelchairs and other features not be taken away. So we learned a lot, and we're still learning. And I'd like to skip to the thank yous because I'm almost out of time. We really couldn't have done this without a lot of people. We had the most fantastic mentors in the world with AJ, Jen, Kathleen, and Ginger. And thank you to Mark and to everyone else who was involved in that, and Bart, and then also Marco and April from the national cohort, and to Ashita and Sean for making everything enjoyable. But thank you very much to everybody.
Thanks. Cyber's up, and then we got time for a break. And I just tried the one called Doctor, which clears the kickoff in Dr. Pepper. It's a shockingly good taste compared to there's no sugar in it. And as a Texas boy, that's actually kind of heretical for me to say. So there's my intro for you to close this out.
Good afternoon. Cyber Technologies has created a cooling system for new and existing data centers that reduces the power consumption by up to 40% and does so without any moving parts. I'm not going to keep anybody in suspense since everybody wants to go on break, so it's a go, just in case anybody was wondering. But this really all started with me. I was a nerd and still am, in a village in Honduras dreaming of a silent computer. But as an investor later said, I had the right solution to the wrong problem. You see, data centers consume 3% of the world's power, are responsible for 2% of all greenhouse gas emissions, and consume over 160 billion gallons of fresh water just for cooling alone each year. Cyber Technologies has developed this cooling system that allows the heat from the servers to be isolated on the sides of the rack. This improves data center efficiency, reduces complexity and cost, increases potential revenue, and easily integrates into existing data centers. our system connects to everything that goes inside the rack. And the data center's operators, instead of having to cool the entire space, they only have to cool the space in between the racks, which makes it easy to integrate into existing data center spaces. We realized in studying our competitors that the reason that other solutions in the past have failed is because they tried to compete by out-manufacturing the manufacturers. We realized that was an unattainable goal. So the true solution to this problem in understanding how to get into the market is to license our technology. Cyber will be able to accomplish this because we have been granted utility concept patents in the US, Canada, Europe, China, Korea, and Singapore. This market is huge. It represents over $150 billion each year. In fact, Gartner has predicted that the data center and infrastructure and cloud markets will be the first to reach $1 trillion by 2050. This presents a huge opportunity, even in licensing alone our technology. We believe we are on pace to breach this $11 billion opportunity and are excited with our investors and our team in order to achieve this goal. Like I said, it's a huge ecosystem and a huge market opportunity. But the key to this, the key to us succeeding this way is by licensing our technology to all the partners in the ecosystem. That way, we help instead of try to outcompete the legacy hardware manufacturers that are already there. So first off, I want to give a special thanks to Mark, Rich, Bart, and everybody else at ATI that has helped me so much. Also to our mentor teams, you know, their feedback has been invaluable in guiding how we move forward in this. Thank you.
All right, that was the Smart Infrastructure Group. I got about a 15-20 minute break. We'll wrap up with most of the software startups. Go forth and enjoy. right, we're going to wrap up the break and get started in just about 1 minute. Grab your last drink and head back to your chairs. Alright, we get started on the last section, all the software companies. And of course, we're going to break that on the very first company that's pitching. And this is another company that came back around. Will came the summer before his MBA. And now he's back after winning some competitions and actually launching this company. So that's kind of amazing to see that trajectory. With that, Will, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny that they're accusing us of being a software company. Hey y'all, my name is Will Wilder, founder and CEO of Wilder Systems. We build robots that build airplanes. So just kind of running through this briefly. So the U.S. aircraft industry spends close to $60 billion a year on direct manufacturing labor, putting airplanes together. About $15 billion of which is spent manually drilling holes in the United States. So what that means is you're going to have a guy there with a power drill, drill, ream, countersink a hole. So there's like 3 to 4 touches per hole. It's incredibly labor intensive. They generate defects all the time. It's very expensive, and the average lifetime of a mechanic on the line drilling holes is about 7 years, which is not a very long career. So a lot of folks think that there's only a handful of potential customers for drilling systems for aerospace, but this map that y'all see on the right is aircraft factories in the United States, over $50 million per year in revenue. Each factory is running multiple lines, so the consequence of that is that there's actually about 10,000 potential customers in the United States alone, and you can triple that globally. Okay, so the problem is that drilling holes is labor intensive and defect prone. Our solution is low cost, easy to implement robots, and the opportunity is cheaper and faster. So Airbus is targeting a rate 100 for their next generation. That's 100 airplanes per month for their next generation single aisle product to compete with the 737 and A320. That's 3 planes a day. They can't do it with current technology, but with our technology, they believe they can. So if you want to improve your drilling process, you've basically got 3 options. At the low end, you've got what are called semi-manual tools. That particular tool is called a SETITech ADU. It reduces touches from 4 touches down to 1 touch, improves ergonomics tremendously. It's a fairly accurate machine, but it's still very labor intensive. You still have a 1-to-1 correlation between operators and the drill. At the other end of the spectrum, you've got what are called monumental systems. These things cost $200 million. They run on train tracks, require a very heavy-duty foundation to implement. But on the upside, they last 30 years. They're incredibly precise and they're very fast. What our systems do is they're able to deliver the speed and efficiency of monumental systems at a cost that's competitive with manual processes. So our business model is threefold, all right? We start by deploying capital equipment. That's what we're doing right now, getting robots into the field. We're doing this in 2 ways. Primarily focused on what we're calling robots as a service, which is a services model that includes the use of the robot, cutting tools, and maintenance services in one package deal. What that does is it allows our customers to avoid having to do a CapEx justification, which for these industrial companies can be very challenging to do a justification. If a customer requires it, we will sell them the hardware, but we sell it at market rate. So a single drilling robot, on the market today costs about $1.5 million. So we'll do it, but we would prefer to offer it to them without having to do the CapEx. After that, like I say, we offer maintenance and services, and then we've got a growing IP portfolio, which we're potentially willing to license in the future. So we've got a bunch of projects, and so the go decision is, yeah, we're going to go. Hire 2 engineers, there they are, hook them. And we've done $200,000 in revenue to date, 2 engineers. If everything hits this year, we're going to close another $500,000 in revenue by the end of the year. I expect to close our second customer by the end of this month, probably in the next 2 weeks. And the key lesson here, I want to iterate this once and reiterate it again, is the message in the startup scene is you need investors, blah, blah, blah. But actually what you need is customers. So we don't have any investors whatsoever, okay? We may get them in the future when we need to deploy huge sums of capital to fund our RAS thing, but for now, no investors. So next steps, fundamentally close deals. I'd love to talk to y'all about this more in the future if you're interested. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a difference in the pitch from the last time. Congrats, Will. Yeah, we have actual revenue. That's awesome. All right, you ready?
How's it going, y'all? My name's Gage. I'm the CEO and founder of CSafe. I'm extremely excited to be here with y'all today, not only pitching, but hearing all these other amazing startups pitch their startups. So CSafe is providing a fail-safe reminder system that's built into car seats to help prevent children from suffering vehicular heat stroke. The team is made up of myself, George Grossing, our CTO and technical lead for the NSF iCore program, and Mark Murdoch, our advisor, mentor, and industry lead for the iCore program. So raise your hands for me if you've ever seen a headline like one of these before, even recently. Okay, most of y'all. So y'all might not know that this year we're on track to set the record for vehicular heat stroke deaths. Crazy, 2018. So this is the problem we're tackling. Parents accidentally leaving their children in the back of the car on the way to work from a change of routine or just an extremely busy day. So after interviewing over 250 new parents and grandparents, we developed the ideal solution based on their feedback. Our solution is a 3-part system. It's a car seat with sensors that detect the presence of a child in it, a mobile application that connects to the car seat, and alerts the user to return to the immediate vicinity if they leave their child in the car, and a key fob that serves as a fail-safe in the instance the phone dies or is left in the vehicle. So what were our biggest obstacles for Seal? Well, the first one was, can we secure IP? We had actually recently pivoted from an add-on to a built-in integrated solution, which changed our claims and our designs, so that was a big challenge. The other challenge was that there have been some new patents that emerged recently over the past couple of months in this industry. Patents from Google, IBM, Toyota, so that's kind of scary. The second biggest obstacle was, will child seat manufacturers be interested in licensing this technology? So we couldn't really talk to them in detail about our tech because we hadn't had IP yet, and we were also lacking some of those vital industry connections. So now the moment you've all been waiting for, the go or no-go reveal. It's a go. So, we met with several intellectual property attorneys here in Austin. We also completed the most thorough patent analysis I've ever seen in my life, and are excited to say we're actually filing with Michael Reed of Cesarian Reed, who was the intellectual property attorney for Seal. So that's exciting. And then let's see, well, so now that we're in the process of getting that IP, we're extremely excited to begin finally talking to these big car seat manufacturers. To answer the second problem, thanks to our mentors, we were able to meet some huge industry connections, one being Flora Winston, who's the director of the Center for Injury Research and Prevention at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, who's a big industry leader, and Dr. Aditya Balwadi, who is also a big industry leader
and he helps perform and oversees the crash testing and safety testing at the same hospital. Okay, so what's next for us? So thankfully, during SEAL, we were accepted into the National Science Foundation's National I-Corps program. During that program, we're going to be working towards securing a licensing deal with car seat manufacturer and also partnerships with agencies such as the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. We'll also be interviewing companies like Graco, Britax, Chico, Safety First, and Cybex. And then following that, following nationals, we'll be potentially applying for an SBIR grant to help fund any additional prototyping or product development. And finally, I want to give a big shout out to our mentors, Chris Lang and Mike Donahue, who you might see around here all the time. They're our mentors that we met during the SEAL program, and they helped introduce us to some huge connections that have helped us a ton. And with that, thank you all for being here, and we'd love for you all to follow us on Facebook.
All right, I think one of my favorite named companies, Drones of Praise. Who's next? Yes. And then Maryland, you're up after that.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I've said a few times since we started the company that my number one thing that I've added to the company has been the name. So I'm glad that it's been such a hit. So my name is Michael Cohen. I am co-founder and CEO of Drones of Prey. And at the very beginning, Mitch said we were going to be talking about whether or not we're going to keep doing what we've been doing or not. And it's funny because we are continuing with the company, but we are not going to be continuing doing what we have been doing. We've gone through a fairly substantial pivot. So when we first started this company, my co-founder and I, the vision was to build a drone that was actually going to be flying into the sky and capturing other drones, keeping people on the ground safe. And it sounds like a great idea, and everybody that we talk to thinks it's really cool. The thing is, there's a whole middle space before you get to the actual capture solution that's a marketable, provable service that people need today. And we figured that out when we were actually building our prototype, and that's the computer vision system that we were putting in place to do the detection and tracking of drones. And that detection and tracking is valuable in and of itself, because clients need to be able to understand what's the aerial risk that they're currently facing around their large-scale assets today. It's not all about taking drones out of the sky, it's just what the hell is happening, and do we need to plan to make sure that we're safe from what's happening. So we've had a big strategic shift, going from the hardware, focusing solely on the software. So whereas 2 weeks ago I would have told you we're a counter-drone security company, today I get to tell you that we're a machine learning company focused on drone applications. And that opens up a lot of possibilities for us, because no longer are we stuck in just the security niche. And we can build out this tracking and reporting system to apply not just to drones, but to potential other markets and other applications down the line. So we've gone through this strategic shift. So yes, we are going to keep going. It would be pretty preemptive of us to say we're not going to keep going right now when we just figured this out. So what's the problem today? Just to remind everybody. That's the problem today. That drone that you see on the screen right there, and drones that are similarly sized. There are 95% of the drones on the market today, and they're being used by a variety of different actors. The first of which is this guy. He doesn't look too menacing or too dangerous, but the problem is this hobbyist can cause problems like these, like crashing into a fan at a Padres game, or shutting down an airport for 3 hours because of a 15-minute flyover. Then you've got actual criminals who are using these very same drones to do things like target top police officials in Mexico, smuggle drugs across the border, and bring weapons and drugs and cell phones into prisons. And then you have the terrorist who's using the exact same drone again that you can go onto Amazon today and have at your house tomorrow to cause huge problems for our men and women in uniform in the Middle East. And this is the one actor that we haven't yet seen on American soil, but we know we're going to have to deal with eventually. So let's get out in front of things now. And this is what the cause of all these incidents have been. The MLB puts out an article in the Washington Post saying, we're not ready to deal with this problem. The Secretary of Homeland Security 2 months ago puts out an op-ed in the Washington Post saying the US isn't ready to deal with this problem. And the Prime Minister of Israel says they're not ready to deal with the drone-based threat. So that's why we're bringing to market Clear Sky AI. This is our first service. And it's really our detection and tracking system that we've been talking about for a few months now, but has really been distilled down into one clear service. And what we're doing is providing people the ability to know what's happening in the sky around them and plan accordingly. So if you need to coordinate with law enforcement based on the types of flights that have been happening over your facility, you can do that. But if it's just a competitor who's trying to figure out something about you, you can increase your own internal security measures to stop that flyover from being able to gather important information. We're really becoming an intelligence gathering service so that where our clients can figure out how to properly respond to a threat that they're currently ignorant of. This is the market that we're going to be growing into with this first service, and this is the reason why we've chosen this initial market. It's huge, but not only is it huge, it's primed to explode over the next several years as events like this continue to happen more and more regularly. I just want to say a quick thank you to Thomas and Jackson. They were hugely instrumental in helping us figure out the strategic shift and putting us in touch with people who are extremely valuable to talk to even further. And SEAL as a whole has been a great program to go through and has really reiterated a lot of the lessons that we've learned and made sure that we've stayed introspective instead of staying ignorant. Thanks very much, and we appreciate your effort.
Awesome. Love that story and that pivot. That's a cool story. All right, and also good renamed branding as well. All right, Marilyn, you're up next.
Hello, everybody. This is not the first time I have stood up here, and it's certainly not the first time that somebody from Maryland has come up here and talked about how we are going to provide financial services for our community and what a great idea it is and how wonderful it is. And many of the people in this room have been very, very supportive of us from day one, and we are so appreciative for that. However, we have a major problem, and it's been us. In fact, it's been me. As one of the co-founders, we bit off more than we could chew. We would like to think that we have the giant black rectangle of resources that they have at the Bank of America building a few blocks away from here, but in reality, we don't. My co-founder and I, our mentors, our advisor, Steve Meyer, who's sitting right back there, the folks that helped us at Div Inc. and through the SEAL program, they really, really showed us how much people needed help with financial services, how much people need access to loans and credit services, and even just financial literacy education. But the problem is, two people cannot deliver that. Not only that, but we cannot be all things to all people at once. And the SEAL program has really shed some light on what we need to do to move forward. What we need to do to move forward is two things, and it's mostly about looking at ourselves, evaluating ourselves, and listening to what's going on in the marketplace. So the first thing is that we have added an entire team of people. A bunch of them are sitting right there joining us today. Very, very happy to have this intelligent, capable, amazing group of UT students and recent graduates that have come on board to turn what was a decent group of people to start into this. We now have a group of people that speaks 12 different languages, has over 20 degrees, and we have 3 generations of teachers and students working together in order to focus on what the core of our problem really is. And as a few of the previous presenters have spoken about, at some point we need to start making money. We need to actually start helping people. We feel so blessed that we've been able to stand on this stage and talk to people about Maryland and talk to people about the issues like predatory lending and debt cycles and the problems with our financial system. But talking about problems, anybody can do that. We're here to deliver solutions, right?
Right. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Q. So, this problem still hasn't gone away. These are the average interest rates that people who lack credit scores or access to credit actually have to pay if they want to borrow money. That means that if somebody wants to borrow $1,000, they're going to pay over $3,600 to do that in the course of a year. Now, this problem is something we've been aware of and something that you may have even heard me talk about before. However, in order for us to do something about it, we had to get focused. And that's where this team has been so amazing, because they have really helped us identify that in order to really help people, we need to work on and develop our borrowing marketplace. And to that end, our dev team and the rest of our team has focused on this so heavily that not only are we going to be able to begin bringing borrowers and lenders onto our platform, we have refocused our customer market on the UT campus because after all, with this wonderful group of students, who would we rather help more than our fellow classmates and colleagues and everybody else that makes this campus and this city so great. So the last time I put this up here, we kind of just had this vague launch that we were going to have at the end. But what we now know is that we are inviting borrowers and lenders to begin coming to our platform. We are targeting mid-September to run our first 10 pilot loans. And so all we ask of you today is to check out our website, enter your email address, sign up for more information, because as we move forward, we want this amazing community that supported us thus far to continue supporting us through the next phase as we move forward. Thank you guys, first and foremost, and thank all of you too. We appreciate it.
Okay, I get to do some dramatic pausing. Well, I have everyone's attention before we break up after one more presentation. So if you're a founder and you have one of these assessments, please actually fill it out and then give it to Kristen. Awesome. Last plug. So this is also a dramatic pause to talk about a couple of the companies who are not here presenting. There are 3 of them who are not going to get up on stage and talk about their go, no-go decision because it's a team. Which is really uncomfortable for a founder to talk about. For me, both of my startups, I lost founders for both of them, and that was a mess. Even when I had 2 people on my startups, the hardest thing I had to do was to build a team. Customers and tech was way easier than team. And so a lot of teams are learning that lesson through SEAL over this summer. So congrats to figuring that out now before it gets even worse down the road. So just pause on that and thank them for their hard work and learning an important lesson early so they can take it into the next company. So with that, the next company up in the last presentation is Flow Recruit. So I'm going to skip through a whole bunch of slides. Okay. Flow Recruit.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for staying until the very end. My name is Catherine Allen.
And I'm Atreya Misra.
And we're excited to share with you today Flow Recruit, where we're making personal human recruiting possible at scale. Before I tell you anything more about Flow, it's important that I introduce to you my friend Wade. Wade is a campus recruiter at a large accounting firm. And every year as a part of his job, he has to host large networking events where he brings together hundreds of candidates and employees. Wade relies on his employees to provide him crucial feedback on candidates so that he can deliver an effective recruiting process. But he usually ends up with feedback like this. Hey Wade, you know that guy from Tennessee? Yeah, loved him. I think he was interested in the Dallas office, but I'm not sure. Could you figure out who that was? Now, our frustrated friend Wade wouldn't be so upset if he's only dealing with a few candidates. But Wade has hundreds of candidates and dozens of these events. And when he loses feedback like this, it sets him up for failure. However, this is actually part of a larger problem for the company that Wade works for. Today, 89% of employees that quit or are fired and leave in the first year actually do so due to fit. Culture fit, geographic location fit, things that are possible for employees to pick up at recruiting events. And when that type of feedback falls through the cracks, it translates between 1 and 3 times that employee's base salary being immediately sunk. And for our customers, that means between $50,000 and $600,000 per mishire. And that's not including the cost to refill that position. So considering these issues for both Wade and the company, we actually closed Wade and his team as our very first paying customer. Woo!
That's why we created Flow Recruit. See, Flow enables candidates to enter their information to a company within 10 seconds. It also allows for triple the amount of feedback that employees can leave on those candidates, and it gives recruiters insights that they never had before. As a result, recruiters like Wade are empowered by the fact that they can have a personable and human recruitment process that can actually scale. But how did we get here? Well, we closed Wade, our first customer, in January. Since then, we've gotten 2 more customers, and we've started the SEAL program. Throughout the summer, we've gained a lot more traction to be able to have 6 to 10 paying customers hopefully by the end of September. In addition, what industry are these customers a part of? Well, recruitment as a whole is huge. In the United States alone, approximately $250 million is spent, or $1 billion, sorry, is spent on recruitment every single year, especially in 2015. And in 2016, approximately $6 billion was spent on just on-campus recruitment. And of that, $1 billion was spent on technology towards campus recruitment. So obviously this is a huge industry, but with any huge industry comes its competitors.
Today, most recruiters like Wade are actually using technology tools like Excel spreadsheets and Google Forms and writing on the backs of resumes in hopes of hacking together a solution to this problem. But I'd like to take the time to emphasize one of our main competitors, Yellow. Yellow provides a swath of recruiting tools, and we compete directly with their campus recruiting offering. However, Yellow has primarily targeted the Fortune 100, and we believe there's an immense opportunity to work with growing companies of between 1,000 and 10,000 employees who feel these pains but could use a lighter weight solution. Today, we're hyper-focused on nailing the candidate feedback collection process. But with the data that we're collecting, we're confident that we'll be able to do 2 important things. First, we'll be able to detect racial and gender bias in recruiting processes, as well as predict which candidates are most likely to be hired at the outset of the recruiting process. Additionally, we're already beginning to provide insights to event coordinators who are hosting job fairs and career fairs. And lastly, I'm running out of time, but lastly, we're continuing to see that salespeople actually want to use our technology at trade shows to not only collect client data, but also contextual information to lead a more personalized and effective sales process. I'll briefly highlight our team because I can't help but thank our advisors, Mark Murdoch, Jeff Schmitz, Hank Stringer, and Christina Wells, some of which are actually here in the audience, have provided expertise in both talent, building companies, and also enterprise sales, and we're so thankful for them. So if I leave you with this, it's that this is just the beginning for Flow. Although we're very excited by the early traction that we've had, we're setting out on a mission to revolutionize the way that companies of today recruit their leaders for tomorrow. Join us. Thank you.
Awesome, that wraps us up. So overall, 21 teams, 45 entrepreneurs, collectively raised almost $4 million coming in, and this is the companies that represent that. Many made no-go decisions, and you heard several pivots in there, which is a different flavor of that. So congrats to all the teams. It was amazing to watch the journey you went on. I know there's so much more to the journey out there for you. Go off and enjoy it, and please keep us in the family. Thank you everyone for coming.